Well, these are not the brilliant fall colors that you can get in some part of the country. But I would like some variety. I don't want just purely green across the back here. So we started here using ultramarine blue, yellow ochre, a bit of white in the treetops. As we get closer to here, and I'm planning on warming up this grassy area, I decided to go a little warmer in color. So it took the same mixture, but put a larger proportion of yellow ochre in it and added a little bit of alizarin crimson to it. So we end up with quite a bit warmer colors here. This tree is going to go fairly green. So I don't think I want to butt right up this color to this color because we have this dip in the sky. I need continuity down here as well as here. So I think we'll just leave that for the moment. What I will do though is add a little more yellow ochre to my pile here and a hint more alizarin crimson and a little more white, sort of a warm pink. And as we get closer to the bottom of this bush and the grassy knoll underneath it, we begin to see a little bit more light catching it. Eventually, you know, on these rocks you see more. So that's kind of in keeping with the theme of things, I think. Seems to work okay. That's quite a few very square strokes. I think I'd like to not have quite as much of that. Too many small lines in there. We mowed over a few of them, and we may mow over more yet, but we'll see. Alright, moving to our right. I don't mind if this bush continues a little bit. That does not hurt my feelings at all. So let's go back to our... Let's go back to a little more alizarin crimson. No, a little more, a little more alizarin crimson. A little more ultramarine blue. And just a little bit of white, not much. I don't want to go too high in value as we get to the edge here. That's certainly safe enough, I think. Maybe I better just hold it off right there. Yeah, just a bit of trailing bush off to the right. Let's leave that. Now, get my brush and wipe. Let's do this stuff. This stuff is in the background. This as well. This tree's in the foreground-ish. Okay, let's do the background first. We're going back to our ultramarine blue. This time we're going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to it and a bit of white. Is that too light? No. No, that looks okay. That's too dark. I'm going to add a touch of yellow ochre to it because that's just a little too cold. Nope. Getting too much like that bush. Now I'm going to add some cobalt blue to it. Make it go a hint greener. Just a bit greener. It's an evergreen. It's an evergreen, so it doesn't catch a lot of light really. The boughs. You know, this is sort of on par with this as far as close is concerned. That's more distant. Cobalt blue. A little more yellow ochre. All right. That's just hunky-dory. Okay, that's distant, so we'll just keep the values higher but the chroma low. And we're not going to worry about distinguishing this distant bit of foliage from the stuff in the foreground. It's far enough away, it just becomes a mash of its own colors. Really have a tendency to choke up on the brush when I'm doing this. Which is okay, I just don't want to get too comfortable with that. because it's in the long run, it's really not great form. You know, it's not great form to hold it like a pencil, because you will end up with a very tight painting. If that's a habit you develop, it'll cause you some trouble. You know, unless you want to make a tight painting, that is entirely up to you. Okay, while we're at it, and these two are sort of, you know, neighbors, let's go back to this one. So back to some ultramarine blue. And some burnt sienna. Bit of white. Bit of cobalt blue. How was that? A little on the high side value-wise. Okay, that's gone a little on the blue side. That's okay. I don't mind it. And let's bring it back from the blue, adding a little more yellow ochre. A little bit of white. Warming up this side. Just, you know, sort of has the idea of sun catching it. Not directly, but the notion is there. Okay. You know, little bits of debris here and there. I could leave those on, but sometimes I just like to get rid of them. Okay. That'll do. That'll do for there. I think I'm just, for the time being, going to work my way across the trees to the left. A tedious job. But it's got to be done. And it sure begins to make things look interesting. There, a little bit of a zoomy there. And yeah, just to remind you, that grass in the foreground is going to have some shots. It's going to be pretty warm color for the most part. See you soon.